I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. With us, a friend of mine and a regular. He is from TradersChoice.net. He is Gregory Mannarino. Gregory Mannarino, you never disappoint. Thanks for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
Greg, it's great to be here as always. Thanks for having me again.
So you called me a week or so ago, and you said, Greg, I'm going to send you a chart. I'm going to send you a chart. And when you see this chart, I mean, I know you don't really trade. No, I don't. And I said, but when you see it, and even my wife says, oh my gosh, the pattern is unbelievable. And I want to start with the chart you sent me for the markets that you sent. Now, you made this chart. This is your chart. You didn't get this off Zero Hedge. This is your chart. And if you take a look here, let's start right here with this. Look at this circle that you drew. This is back in 2001. This is the meltdown, the tech meltdown. You can see that pattern. And then here is 2008, a little higher high, but look at that pattern. That's what you told me. So as soon as I saw it, you didn't even tell me what it was. You went, just look at it. Just take a look at it and tell me what you think. I think, oh my gosh, and then when you look now, which is a way higher high, if you just look at that, I'm going to get that in there in the shot. Oh my goodlands, it's the same pattern. All three of these they're all the same. They're all the same patterns. Every one of them is exactly the same. I mean, you start back here in 2000, you go to 2008, the meltdown there, and then, oh boy, and of course, where this is all going is down here to the 6,000 point range. That's the chart that you gave me back. You called the top in. This is in the top chart. You called the top. You called the top back in May in the Dow. And according to your work right here, we're going into $5,000-6,000 land, 5,000-6,000 point land or lower. So let's start with your chart. Yeah. What does this all mean?
Well, what I want people to notice, it might be a little difficult for them, but those circled areas specifically, I want them to look at the relationship there between that blue line and that yellow line. Exactly, right there. That has only occurred, again, at the top of the dot-com bubble, and then if you move over a little bit, right there to 2008 credit bubble, and where we are right now. That particular crossover, you see it right there? That's only the third time that has occurred, again, at the top of each of these bubbles. What that tells me, and should tell the people who are watching this, is something very big has already begun. Not that it's maybe going to happen. This has already started. Despite what we've seen this month with regard to the major averages, the stock market averages, which have gained over the past several weeks, we had an abysmal start to the year, Greg, and the only reason, and I want people to understand this, the only reason why we have seen this stock market rally as of late is on speculation about crude oil, Greg, something you and I have even spoken about. We said, we went over that they will not allow crude oil to drop anymore because it's a currency. There are too many things linked to it. So what did they do? They went out and they literally forced speculation on crude oil, which has pushed crude back up. We're near $40 now a barrel. This won't last, in my opinion here. Nothing has changed fundamentally. So what does that mean? This has been a fool's rally, in my opinion, at least based on the information that I have right now. But going back to that chart there, Greg, I want people to understand. This is not, okay, well, maybe it's happening. It's already occurring. This crossover there between the whole moving average and that 21-day moving average has only happened twice before. And the last two times it occurred, we had a complete and absolute meltdown. So, if things progress, and I believe that they will, all people need to do is look around the world. The fundamentals are continuing to deteriorate. China continues to slow down. We continue to get bad economic news out of China. We hear from the IMF, as a matter of fact, just today, calling on world powers to get together and come up with some kind of a solution to stop this. It can't be stopped. Again, they have inflated this bubble in debt, Greg, that is the greatest threat to humankind, period, the end. creating a resource problem, which we will all face relatively soon, and causing distortions, which we have never seen the likes of in the history of the world across every single asset class, including the stock market, going back to that chart.
So you think this is a head fake rally? This is not a real rally. This is a rally to, I mean, a few weeks ago, J.P. Morgan was saying sell into every rally. So you think this is a head fake? You think this is a sell, sell, sell sign?
There are two factors going on right now pushing this fool's rally forward here, and I agree with J.P. Morgan here. That is seasonality. This month here is kind of a bullish month. And also, and more importantly, it's the crude oil speculation that has pushed the market back up. I can't imagine how they can justify crude oil going much higher than it is now. Could it go a little higher? It could, of course. Again, because of momentum behind it. But once it's realized, or the powers that be don't cut back on pumping more of this stuff out, again, I think there's something much deeper going on underneath it. This will reverse. And if, again, looking at that chart, this has already started. People can't say when's the crash coming. It's already here. It's already begun.
You think this the chart you made up and the research you did is just screaming crash? It's just scream. By any just looking back at the last two big crashes, you're saying that the chart that you and the data you're seeing just screams crash.
Well, yeah. What it's actually doing, what it's screaming, Greg, is the market wants to do its sole job, and that is to establish fair market value for assets. Something it has not been allowed to do since runaway central banks have taken over this entire thing. By manipulating the debt market, the biggest market of them all, they've been successful in creating massive distortions across the spectrum. And every single asset class, I'm talking from currency to precious metals to housing to the derivatives market and crude oil and the stock market, will correct to fair market value. It's a mathematical certainty, and it's already begun.
Well, distortions aren't all one way, on the upside for stocks, but for gold and silver, they're down. But you're saying, and here's another chart that you sent me, and you said, I got another chart. I love the way you prepare for these interviews. People just think we just kind of get on and talk, which we do, but we talk all the time throughout the week because we're friends. But you send me this chart, and you say, here is the silver, and I think we just had a major breakout. And let me get forward. Here it is. Major breakout, right here where my finger is. He says, you're saying that this is the chart that says, silver's getting ready to go up. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. When I did that video, I did that actually, I talked about that on my site. I had said specifically that we had broken out. I would expect a slight pullback, which I believe is beginning to occur here, which we need, and then we're going to get a much higher move moving forward. Again, all of this is about the market trying to establish fair value, and it will. This is not speculation. This will happen because we've seen it over and over again without failure. It's a mathematical certainty. So again, all of this is in an early stage or early corrective stage, in my opinion. And that it's going to be epic, Greg, moving forward, no doubt about it. The same thing has happened for gold. Gold has broken out too.
Hold on, let me just get that up for you. Here's the gold chart that you sent me.
Exactly.
And, this is the gold, and you were talking right up here, right here is where you're saying your breakout is. I mean, it's a stunning move. I mean, back at Bo Polney, I got to give him some credit. He was on here and said, it was at 10:45. We called the low in December. Mm-hmm. Wow, well, December 3rd or 4th, something like that. And when you think December 3rd to now, from 10:45 to 12:60 or something, that's a stunning move.
It is a
$200 move in gold, and nobody's talking about it.
No, and there's a reason for that. Ironically, Greg, in the interview that you and I did in December, we said this. I said I would expect gold and silver to make a big move this year. This has played out, and it's going to continue.
You did say that.
Again,
you did say that.
Unless something drastic changes, unless they come up with some other scheme to suppress all of this and continue to inflate the stock market, this is not a matter of if, Greg, all of this. It's a matter of when. And I think right now, at this exact precise moment that we are doing this, we're in the very early stages of a major corrective phase across the spectrum of asset classes.
That includes some stuff going way down. That'd be bonds, and that'd be stocks, equities, and then gold, silver, physical. They'd be going up. And why? And why do we have this teeter-totter looking deal?
Well, this is the environment that has been created by world central banks. They've created an environment of risk. This is what they have done to boost the stock market by artificially suppressing interest rates. This literally forces investors into risk assets and away from non-risk assets like gold and silver. So this is what has caused this speculative bubble to balloon in the stock market. And all of this is going to correct, and we're seeing it now. I'm not saying that this market is going to go down in a linear fashion. It never does. But we have seen the top already. We went over this, you and I. Last May, the market is down significantly since that time. I think the market is going to fall under pressure here. What it does the rest of this month, who knows? It may rise into this month. But again, look at that longer-term chart. The chart you're showing people is a monthly chart of the S&P 500 going way back. So forget about the day-to-day price action. People focus too much on the day-to-day price action of the stock market. Oh, no, the market's up 300 points today. Greg must have been wrong. Absolutely not. Has nothing to do with the longer-term trend. And the longer-term trend here is down.
I had one of my neighbors, because I actually tell my story. I walk down the street, and I know they're stock traders, back in May, and say, hey, this thing's topping right here. Here's the chart that Gregory Mannarino did. This is back in May. And they kind of chuckled, snickered, whatever. And, here we have the opening of the year. We have a terrible opening of the year, as you brought up. And then that one of my neighbors drives by, and that day it went up 300 points or something. Hey, our market's up 300 points. And I'm thinking, what made the market go up 300 points? I mean, what is the trend that's going to change, that's going to drive the market, up to the stratosphere? They just looked at me. Well, the market went up 300 points. And who cares? The market went up 300 points.
Exactly. People need to stop thinking on such a short basis here. What really matters, and if you ask anyone who understands these markets, it's not what happens on the day-to-day or even sometimes the week-to-week. You got to look longer term. So that's why I think that chart there that you showed is so important. It's a longer-term trend, a monthly trend, and it is going lower. Again, unless these central banks pull some other rabbit out of a hat to again distort asset prices further. Greg, look, all they can do at this particular time, and what they've been doing for quite a while, is create this environment of risk in the market, forcing it higher, making distortions worse. That's it. They cannot fix the issue. The issue here is a financial system that, by any measure you want to look at it, is broken. It's not working. So as a matter of fact, it's completely failed. So they have to prop it up now until the inevitable end, and that's it. And this propping up mechanism is just taking every asset class and twisting it and making it worse. And that corrective phase that we spoke about, and the chart you showed earlier with Dow dropping to possibly 5,000.
Yeah, let me get that up.
Materialize again.
You can't get that enough. I mean, that's just so. There's the 2000 drop. There's the 2008, 2009 drop, and you're saying just draw a line there, and the trend line goes to
And that's a potential drop. Absolutely, it could do that. It could go lower in a worst case scenario, Greg. Look, if this market starts to get going, and when it starts to really lose momentum, what's going to happen is you're going to get panic selling. People will try to dump this stuff and try to get whatever they can out of it. And again, selling creates more selling pressure. So that's what I believe is going to happen here at one particular time. And I'll tell you something else that's kind of interesting, Greg. We're going to hear from the Federal Reserve again soon with regard to rate hikes.
Yeah, they're not going to be hiking anything.
First of all, and I have said this publicly a million times already, I don't think the Fed has done anything. They said they raised rates. Where's the proof? The market's not buying it. Bond yields today, 10-year, 1.81. They're not buying it. So if the Federal Reserve does not act during the next meeting here, that's a no confidence vote once again for the economy, despite what we're hearing out of our politicians, out of whoever the narrative from the mainstream financial channels. Oh, everything's fine. If it is, then the Fed has to raise, okay? And they can say they're going to raise, but it ain't going to happen. It's not happening. It didn't happen before, and it's not happening now.
I want your thoughts on the Trump phenomenon. As a reporter, I've never seen this. Mitt Romney coming out to give a speech, which I think evidently backfired and helped Trump. I mean, if Romney would have been that passionate about going after Obama, hey, he may be president. We may be talking about a second Romney term, but no. And then all the Catholics coming out, oh, he's unfit. And then they have this story today breaking about how the elites and Republicans and the tech elites are meeting for a secret meeting. Well, not so secret now, to stop Trump move. These are the criminal crony class. This is the criminal crony class that wants to keep this going, and that's why they're propping it up. They want to keep it going, right? Is that your read on the Trump? And I'm not trying to stump for him, but people are going after him so hard. Stop Trump. Republicans say they will vote for Hillary Clinton. That's outrageous. What do you make of this?
I personally don't believe anything is what it seems right now. If you were to turn on the mainstream, and even here, we're talking about this phenomenon. In my opinion, this was a staged event. I even posted this. This Romney coming out here and talking against Trump, and I'm talking about this broker convention and everything else. You can't get it out of the headlines, and we can't, So I believe that this was a staged event here to get Trump more attention, because that's all it's done. Nothing ever happens in politics by accident. This was a setup here, in my opinion. I think by all of this negative press that they're forcing on Trump is going to vault him to get the nomination. That's my take.
Really? You think the Republicans are in reality trying to get him to get the nomination?
Absolutely. I think this whole thing with Romney was a staged event. Again, he came out and he's talking all this nonsense, and all of a sudden that's all people are talking about. It's Trump, 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 Trump. He's getting all this free press, and he's posting the airwaves now. I mean, you don't hear about anybody else.
You think he'll get the nomination?
I believe, Greg, something I've said for the longest time. They already, I hate to sound like this. I really do. But they already know who's going to be president. Presidents are not elected in this country. They have been selected for many, many years. They already know who they're putting in there. This is just a show for the people, in my opinion. And I hate sounding like conspiracy theorist, but I believe this is true.
I don't think Hillary's been selected. I think Hillary is going to be selected for indictment. It's looking bad for her. I'm serious. I mean, I don't see how they can get around now she's had 104 emails that she wrote that were born classified. She said, well, the State Department decides, what's classified. You're the head of the State Department. You just wrote an email.
It's so sick. This whole thing is so sick. I just think this, for us as individuals here, we have to understand that none of this is real. We do not have the United States of America the way we had seen it maybe 25 years ago. Does not exist anymore. We now live in the United States of corporate America, where the money and the power dictates everything else. We've seen this before in history. Unfortunately, it's happening here in the United States at this time, and the people are so brainwashed and indoctrinated into believing that what they see is real. That's where the problem lies. And this is going to get a lot worse, Greg. But so on an individual level, we need to understand what we have to do for ourselves and our families to get through this all, because it's going to get a lot worse, Greg. This financial reset has already begun by looking at that chart we had earlier. It's not, again, in the maybe phase. It's happening. So what people need to understand is no matter what's happening on the political front, there's no stopping what is coming. They can't stop this. They can prop it up. They can twist it. They can probably pull some more rabbits out of a hat, but it will not stop what is coming. It's a mathematical fact, period.
And you think that the people that are not prepared are going to get just wiped out generationally? They'll be wiped out for their family. Wealth will be wiped out. They'll be poor for as far as the eye can see.
Right. We're going back to a two-tier society. We've seen it all. We're seeing it happen. The middle class is being systematically destroyed. We are going to have a feudal system of the haves and the have-nots. And people who are walking around blindly as part of the middle class and thinking they're going to be okay are going to suffer the worst. And again, this is happening now. Look around you, people. You're better off now than you were, let's say, even 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but you're not. And this is going to get a lot worse for you. So understand what you need to do. And that means, again, I'm going back to my premises that I've fallen on since I sat down and started talking on this, Greg. I said, bet against this debt. That means hold a hard asset and become your own central bank. That also means hold a hard asset at this point here. Their system has already failed, and it's coming apart. And unfortunately, a great many people are going to suffer worse than they can possibly imagine.
Gregory Mannarino, traderschoice.net, and a good friend of mine. Gregory Mannarino, thanks for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
Thanks for having me, Greg, as always.